MLHD Local Health District. Thanks for coming, everyone. You may be aware that we had some positive cases, or a positive case, travel through our region and stop at a couple of locations. So the locations are Gundagai Coles Express on Thursday the 8th of July between 1am and 1:30am. Gindra Shell, Urana Street, on the 10th of July between 11:15am and 11:45. And so people who had been at that location at that time, they will be identified as close contacts, and they're asked to isolate for 14 days and also get tested immediately. Hay also had someone attend there at the Shell Roadhouse on Saturday 10th between 7:30am and 8am. And there I was very quiet, and anyone who was around there is identified as a casual contact, and they are asked to test and isolate until they have a negative test. So this information just goes to show that our area, although we haven't had a positive case in our region, it can't be assumed that there's no cases in our area, and we just need to be really vigilant, both with our mask wearing, our social distancing, and encourage everyone to get tested, particularly if you've got symptoms. But if you're unsure, get tested, get tested, get tested.
What was your reaction when it first came to light?
Look, I was disappointed, but we know that that's what happens. People who don't know that they've got COVID go about their business, and it was a business trip for these people. So, that's the risk we have. So we were expecting it, even though it's disappointing.
Why have they been so uncooperative to date?
Look, I think I have no idea. People disclose things or not disclose things for whatever reason. We encourage people to give us the full story so that we can intervene as early as possible. And look, that's just something we hope people can do.
Has that contributed to why it's taken so long to come out?
Look, I suppose so. Also, the time that person knew that they were positive, they were infectious in a few days before then. So of course those sites backdate. Obviously, the more people can tell us, the faster we can get that information out.
Given how long it's been since they were at that site and now this information is coming out, how concerning is that in terms of the potential to have cases in the community?
Look, I mean that's absolutely right. So the more delay that we get, the higher the potential it is for having cases in our community. So we've asked the people that we've been able to identify as close and casual contacts at those sites. We're arranging for them to be urgently tested, and so that's step one. And then the people who may have also been at that site that we have not been able to identify, then we encourage those people to come forward for testing.
Are you expecting that, with the long line of testing that we've seen this morning, are you expecting cases to pop up in our region over the next couple of days, given that time frame between knowing and when it was actually in the community?
Yeah, look, there's always that risk. I'm not particularly expecting it or not expecting it. It just depends on how much contact they manage to have with the case, and that's really an unknown. So it's a precaution. We just want everyone to be tested.
Tracey, we're seeing a great lineup at the Lavington and the Showground sites for testing. Is there going to be a pop-up at Gindra?
Look, I understood there was going to be, but I don't have details on that clinic, I'm afraid. I'm sorry.
And what's your reaction to those that are actually taking the initiative and getting tested?
Yeah, look, I think it's hats off to those people. They're community minded. They're absolutely doing the right thing. We want people to protect everyone else in the community as well, and those people going forward are doing that. They're protecting their families, they're protecting their friends and their colleagues by getting tested, because if they are positive, we can shut them down really fast, and if they're negative, they know that they're negative, and that's fantastic too.
And what about compliance? We're seeing people wearing masks, doing the QR code. How important is that given what we've got now?
Yeah, look, the QR codes are really important, and now of course they're mandatory in many venues, or most venues now. So it is the one tool that we've got to rapidly contact people and ask them to stay home until we can find out how much at risk they were. So some sites will say, well, we have other forms of checking and identifying. Why do we need to do the QR code as well? The reason for that is in the middle of the night, if we get a positive case and we know that they were at a particular venue, so we can do a text message overnight with the QR code information to all those people who may have been at that site at that time, and we can say stay home, so they don't have to get out of their house in the morning and go to work and then go oops. So we don't. With businesses have their own or want their own QR code type system, we don't have access to that 24 hours a day. So the New South Wales Service New South Wales QR system gives us that access, so we can get onto people fast.
How concerned are you, given the timing of this event, Saturday morning or late morning, in a small town that I think has only got one service station? How concerned about that potential spread as a result of that?
Look, we have had a look at the CCTV vision, and the Hay store, there was no one in there at the time. Gindra, there was only a couple of people there. The Gundagai one was a bit busier. So, you know, I think that there weren't lots and lots of people going through, but there's always the potential. And then what if those people do come positive? How fast they get tested before they spread it to other people.
What's your advice to community organisations like Hume Football Netball League competition this weekend, with this, on our doorstep?
Look, my advice is to follow the New South Wales Public Health orders in our region. If you can't social distance from people, then wear a mask. That's inside and outside. And just follow the rules, and we'll stay as safe as we can.
So go ahead.
Do we have any idea what they were doing in Gindera? It just seemed a little bit off the kind of path of their travelling.
Yeah, I don't know why they took the route they took.
Okay.
And are you concerned about the potential of further spread, given that there was a local football game held in Gindera that day? Could there be a risk of, or I guess what is the advice to the Colcan community and those people that may have been in the town?
Look, again, if you were at the service station at that time, my advice is to follow the recommendations that we've had to get tested immediately and isolate until you get your result back. I'm not aware that those people travelled to or anywhere near the football game, so I don't think there's an increased risk for that particular event. But of course, anyone who's at the service station, please get tested.
So you're saying the whole league can go ahead this week, and wear masks and all the.
Well, under the current guidelines, they're not prohibited from continuing on.
And what's the process in terms of, the business being notified, doing their, deep clean and things like that? What's the sort of time frame afterwards? Because what happens if you went to the service station, say, that afternoon, for example? What would be your advice?
The deep cleaning is a precautionary thing. Generally, we look for people who are at the venue at the time, and afterwards it's a minimal risk, but we clean just to as an added precaution. So the Public Health Unit contacts the businesses as soon as possible, and the businesses are always, or have always been to date, very cooperative. They identify people, they support us with providing their CCTV vision and any other information that they can provide us to help us identify people. So the businesses have been fantastic.
Tracey, would you mind just going through those sites of concerns and times again once more, please?
Yes, I can. So the Gundagai Coles Express on Mount Street and Middle Street on Thursday the 8th of July between 1am and 1:30am. The Gindra Shell at 90 Urana Street, Saturday the 10th at 11:15 to 11:45. And people who are there are close contacts. The Hay Shell Roadhouse on Lot 5 Moama Street, Saturday the 10th of July, 7:30am to 8am. And people there have been considered a casual contact.
Just one more thing. For the people who have been to the Gindera Shell station and the Gundagai station, do they have to isolate no matter what test result they get, or?
Yes, they've been identified as close contacts, so they're asked to isolate for 14 days regardless of what their first test result is. We will also ask that their household contacts also isolate until they get a negative result, and then we would provide advice about isolating separate from their family. and then subsequent to their release they have further testing to make sure that they haven't contracted it over the 14 days they're in isolation. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Tracy.